Good morning, Big Sam.
Morning, Sam. How are you, mate?
Good morning, pair of you. How are you?
We're doing well, mate. We're doing well. I was just saying earlier on, Sam, not that Gareth needed it, but if ever he wanted a reminder that you're only 90 minutes away from a crisis, he got it on Saturday in that game against Hungary, didn't he?
What crisis?
I know,
for goodness sake.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
No. Listen, he's got big, broad shoulders. He's been there long enough now to know what's coming his way at any given stage, and I think that he's big enough and man enough and experienced enough to handle it now. And hopefully his players are the same. I think that his most important thing is not the Nations League game against Hungary or even against Germany tonight. His big concern is his preparation for the World Cup in December, and that starts now and has probably started well before these games. So he's got a lot on his hands in terms of sorting out. And for me, I'd be resting the best players I have or who have played the most games this last season, and I'd be putting in, looking at his press, saying that he's more or less got the base of his squad in his own mind, and it's those who can get a place for me, the ones he should be playing, and the ones who've had an unbelievably long season, like the Liverpool players and the Man City players, should be the ones that take a well-earned rest from this international game. At the end of the day, it's still the least important tournament. This tournament has been squeezed in and dreamed up to create the opportunity to make more money, and I think it's still a very, very new tournament, so it's more for experimenting. And realistically, on what the team has done over the last few years, if he has the odd hiccup and the odd bad result, so what? Do what you need to do, Gareth, to make sure you're ready for the World Cup. That's the most important thing for you.
Can you understand with what you're just saying there as well, how players might not be massively up for it after the season that they've had? It's been long, it's hard in the Premier League as well. The games are really competitive, Sam.
I can understand it, yes. I mean, if you've had a long, difficult season, like some of the players have just had, and you look at the fatigue levels that these lads will be under again, and no doubt by the time they get back to pre-season, they'll be looking at travelling far and wide abroad in pre-season to make even more and more money. And I don't think there's anything as a pre-season these days to go straight to go and start playing tournaments all over the world. So I think fatigue's a big factor, injuries another big factor, and Gareth has to manage all that. He has to manage the fact that he has to talk to the players and talk to them in terms of where they are and what level of fitness that they are. And there are some players who haven't played that much and who will be ready and desperate for a game. So play those players. Let's see what they can do. Don't worry too much about the result for me. I know if you lose again, you'll get criticised, but the all-important thing for me is the World Cup and this time going all out to try and win it.
Sam, just a couple of questions. One, with what you've said in mind, I was a little bit surprised that we didn't see Tammy Abrahams at any point on Saturday night. Were you a little bit surprised with that too? And also, he has received a little bit of criticism, Gareth, for one or two of the journalists thinking he's too or overprotective, shall we say, of his back three or his back four, his centre backs, and he plays two defensive midfielders in front of him. Do you think that's the case? I mean, getting back to the first question, I was dying to see Tammy Abraham, Sam, and we didn't see him, and that disappointed me a little bit.
Yes, I would agree with that, Ali. I'd agree with looking at what the players have done and what the players are playing, like John Stones hasn't played too much. He could play as well. Jack Grealish maybe play all the games. Who knows? I mean, it's nice to see Jared Bowen though after the season he's had with West Ham to see if he's good enough to come in the squad. And whatever he does, Ali, whatever you do, you're going to get the finger pointed at you by somebody by saying, "Well, I'd sooner see this lad in and that lad in." And I think that. It should be somebody that we need, I think, to replace Harry Kane just in case, and Tammy Abraham may be that man. Or should he be brave enough to play with no striker? and see whether we can cope with that situation. Should we play with the ultimate, saying the false number 9, and see where that goes, where that takes us in these games. I mean, that may be an interesting factor for Gareth to experiment in. He's getting criticism on the back 3. Well, obviously that's entirely up to him. The most important thing, one of the most important things will always be at international level, is can you sustain a clean sheet? And that's been the backbone for all England's success in recent years. And I wouldn't go too far about criticising for that situation at the moment. The solid base gives the flair players and the skillful players the opportunity to express themselves, knowing you're not leaving yourself too exposed at the back after that.
All right, Sam, we'll let you go. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Sam. All the best, pal.
Take care. Lovely to speak to you. Big Bye-bye. Sam Allardyce on talkSPORT Breakfast this morning.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods. Monday to Wednesday mornings 6 till 10. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.